fan. This is quite odd to see you people here in the middle of a month. It's very strange, I think, to see a Mikey and a gangrel cheese here with me tonight, along with Rain Leverkugel, as we go over our reactions to Mystery Wrestling 21 and a half. Welcome, Mikey. Welcome, Jesse. Welcome, everyone, in to the Grapple Gumshoes here as we get to review one of our favorite things. How are you all doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm
Good
still
so far.
recovering. Yep, I'm still recovering from a night out, but I am here to talk about some great and fantastic and fun wrestling. So we're good to go.
And Jesse, you're also doing well. You've been surviving up there in the Great White North?
Yeah, it's been a little cold, and we can turn the snow globe effect off for at least a day. It would be nice. But yeah, we're doing good. Better than I deserve.
Oh, don't be on yourself about that. You deserve the best. But for all you out there, welcome, BC WrestlePod fam, out there in the wonderful podcast land. We are glad to have you with us tonight to go over this wonderful thing because Mystery Wrestling released a half episode of their monthly stuff here from their trip to Wales. They gave us 7 extra matches that were on a different night that we get to go over. But before we dive into the craziness, the comedy, all that is Mystery Wrestling, I just wanted to first off go over a couple things of housekeeping here, and Mikey help me out as we go along. But we do reviews and other different podcasts every single day of the week pretty much, except for Thursdays on occasion, but this week you get it all. We are reviewing quite a bit later on we'll talk about, but be able to do that, to have us keep watching all the shows, seeing the pay-per-views, giving you our opinions, we need to help out Mikey, because Mikey truly is the heart and soul of this entire operation. And in order to do so, we would love for, there's a couple ways to do it. First off, like, subscribe, share us around, either on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram Live right now, wherever you are, put this out there. If you don't get a chance to watch the live and you're seeing this later, thank you for joining us as well. Like this video, the edited versions or the shorts, send those around. We really can do that. It's the first step. Second step, Mikey will be putting some links in the chat during this for both our merch store, which has new merch coming out very shortly, including, Mikey, if I'm right, embroidered shirts.
Ooh.
Absolutely. So thanks to a certain kilt man, all that is now live right now as we speak. So I will be putting that link in the chat very shortly.
So if you ever wanted your own Lacoste t-shirt but wanted to have our faces or our logos on it, you got that right there. And finally, Mikey will be dropping in a Coffee Bot little link there as well. If you can, I know everyone's stretched thin right now, but drop us a little bit there, buy us a cup of coffee, buy Mikey some premium internet, something we can do so that we can all continue to share this with you, because we've been growing. We've seen you out there. We hear you. You comment. You tell us things. You're here with us tonight. We appreciate you so much, but we definitely could use a little more help just to be able to make sure we can continue to bring all this fun content and pay for all these stupid streaming services and other Patreons that we have to do to watch
So
this
many.
at all times. All right, that housekeeping out of the way. Gentlemen, I am so happy to be back with you here. I love when we get to talk about Mystery Wrestling in general once a month, but I also love that this month we got something extra from Cardiff, because this was such a great Mystery Wrestling 21, the entirety of the show, that there was no way I thought it could be topped or other things could be added. But this was the show they did the day before, just for the fans in the bingo hall. So were you guys excited to see more from Cardiff?
I was thrilled to see more from Wales, and I loved the number of people they had there. I mean, I think Eva Witness said over 40,000 people there. That's a huge turnout for them.
That's bigger than the Gatineau they usually get. Mikey, were you excited to have an extra bit of Mystery Wrestling in your life this month?
Oh, absolutely. Especially, more UK and European talent. So I'm spoiler alert, I was very pleasantly surprised of all the people that came through.
And a couple repeats from the night before, so it was really great to have. If you haven't watched Mystery Wrestling before, one, why are you here for the half episode? Go back and watch 21, subscribe to the Patreon, get all this stuff.
No, stay here now and then watch it later.
Well, the best part is you can watch this now. Mystery Wrestling, every Friday this month, and I think going forward, they've been releasing older episodes on their YouTube channel for free now, so you don't even have to join the Patreon for the early stuff right now, which is still really good, including the Iron Man match between London Lightning and Cecil Nix, which has been the big viral clip of Cecil Nix going through the table, through the door. So get a chance to do it, watch that stuff. But this is comedy wrestling at its best, but also some amazing wrestlers doing really intense moves. So we have that to look forward to, and obviously our favorite match of the night is here up on our screen for it. We don't have any other shots with this because this was not meant to be seen by a ton of people, but we'll get to the 3 stages of hell, because we start off Mystery Wrestling, as we always do, with a 4-way dance, Druid dance, or you don't know who the competitors are, but to spoil a little bit here, it was for the Attack title as well, the Attack Championship, which the Attack Pro Wrestling is what Mark Andrews and everyone else, that's the school they run and what they have where we were actually performing this evening. So we had Kanji versus Connor Mills versus Chris, who we all know and love from Mystery Wrestling, versus Matt Gatlin. Gentlemen, to start this off, did we enjoy seeing a mixed gender match that was so hard-hitting to start off with?
Absolutely. I'll talk a little bit more on the mixed gender, intergender matches a little bit later because I had one of those light bulb moments. But the match itself, it was from start to finish, it just kept going. They were playing into the crowd too, and there was a lot of spots there I hadn't seen before. Like the one that comes to mind is I don't think I've ever in my years of watching wrestling seen a tombstone countered with a bell clap using your legs. That was pretty creative.
And multiple ones at that too. Like that was just some damage up there.
Yeah.
Mikey, you knew a couple of these folks. We all know Kristara, but Kanji has been a kind of a revelation on this one. Did you feel like she did like Zack Sabre Jr. and all those other British wrestlers that she was kind of channeling the entire way through proud as she was defending the championship?
Oh, absolutely. I think to nobody's surprise, Kanji, as well as a couple other people that we've seen here on Mystery Wrestling, as well as other British promotions. Kanji's at the top currently of the women's division of British wrestling, period. So it was fantastic to see her. It was also really nice to see one half of our Progress Tag Champs in the here too, in Mr. Connor, of Diamond Eyes. It was great. I had a blast with this one. I was just like, my British wrestling heart, we're gonna have a great time. And of course, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Kristara. Like she's great. I love her.
She was definitely touted by Uno the entire time, kind of bringing up the fact that she's a big revelation that's always in Mystery Wrestling. I think you two may have noticed this also. These folks were very inventive. Like you said, the tombstone into the bell clap. We had the pickup from the ankle lock into the full kick to the gut that knocked over Connor Mills. And then Kanji, a rolling, bridging Kimura lock to win the match. I have not seen that flexibility in a very long time.
That was beyond impressive.
I want to see that more often. Like I'm going to speak a little bit flowery about this. That reminds me of how I felt the first time I saw the sharpshooter. When I was like, that's got to be freaking painful, and how the hell do you pull that off right?
I think adding the rolling bridge into it is how you're going to get that move over and not associated with the other person who was using the Kimura lock for too long. I know Thea Hale's kind of doing it right now, but adding that just a little bit of flourish to it is going to help get it over and help it from the other person who was using it.
The bridge especially, because yes, you can get the Kimura lock and people lean back on, or they'll pull back and then snap. This is arching your full back and pulling the weight against your chest as you're putting your head down, which also gives it a lot of drama. Mikey, in general, do you feel also like this is a great kind of like next step on the submission move that really brings it to the next level?
I think so. And the reason why too is because when it comes to not to get too technical, but the short version of it is with British wrestling in general, it's usually very unpolished, hard-hitting. There's a lot more mat-based than it is, the entertainment and lifeline that we're normally used to seeing anyways, right?
It's true. It's very true.
Excuse me. And it's giving me, the bridge is giving me shades of Zack Sabre Jr., honestly, because Zack does that too with the various amounts of stuff that he can do. So, and of course, Zack is British, so submission game is starting to become more important and apparent. I love it.
Has Zack Sabre taught or at least trained with these people? Because there was a lot of his, like, I've seen him do that on the few occasions I've got to watch him, like the neck twist that he does through the ankles.
If from what I got from the commentary and everything else, if he didn't directly train with some of these folks or come back to it, he's definitely influenced what they've done and kind of like given them pointers on it before, because you can see that in both Kanji trying to do the neck snap that he does with the legs when he's standing over them or anything else. He's definitely a big influence on Attack Pro Wrestling in general.
Okay, thank you. That context is very helpful.
But Kanji ends up picking up the win, retains her title, brings everyone else down. So a great way to start the match. And, a title match with the Druid match is never a bad thing. So great way to start off. We jump in. Also, Mark Andrews, how did you all feel compared to like Simon Miller for the other show? I felt like he gave Uno a lot to work with.
No, not a fan.
No? Not a fan of Mark Andrews?
No, he's talking crap on ball people in the very beginning. I think that was on purpose because he knew Simon was going to be commenting after him. But there's at least five different comments he made about calling the Bald Brethren evil, and I don't appreciate that. That's not entirely true. So,
Yeah,
yes, he was a great commentator, but no, for a personal reason, absolutely not. He's garbage. Terrible.
I wanted to ask you about that, though, because, your representative of the bald community there was Stu Grayson, who was ostensibly evil.
You know what? Not even just Stu Grayson. The entire night was represented by bald people who I don't entirely agree with it as a whole, as a collective.
I wouldn't know, unfortunately. I have too much hair to be understanding of that. But if you say that you are being kind of discriminated against because of the commentary, I do apologize for that. Obviously, we don't want to make anyone to be discriminated against, but it does shine a big light.
There's one fantastic bald pro wrestler who we'll talk about later tonight. Who I'm a big fan of now.
However, before we get there, we're going to get to our big special guest referee match up next. And Mikey, I thought of you right off the bat when we announced who was in this, because it was LJ Cleary, who we've seen working on Mystery Wrestling, Progress, and a couple other places, versus Danny Luna from TNA. Like, that was a huge get there. Tell me, like, what did you feel when you saw Danny coming out here to actually work back in Wales?
Mikey's just evolved to noises now.
For real. The camera's not gonna be messing up here for me, so we're gonna go to talking circle for this point, because I want everyone to hear this one, right? Yes. Listen harder. Yes. Good. Did it. Why not? Anywho, so I love Danny Luna. Guys, she is only 27 years old. She's been doing this since she's like 13, 14.
Well, that was kind of the theme across the board for a lot of folks. I mean, Mark Andrews and Uno were talking about the fact they started at 13 or 14. A lot of these folks did.
Yeah, so Danny specifically has been doing this since she's been 13. She's only in her 20s, which makes it very fantastic. And then, of course, following her career, as well as our subculture boys that we have seen, over the last iteration of Mystery Wrestling and here, the UK wrestling scene, she was in NXT UK. And then, her and Leon Slater traveled around the world, fought in the UK, fought in the United States, both landed in TNA. And unfortunately, visa issues are still plaguing TNA at this moment. But hey, she was available to pop up in Mystery Wrestling, and honestly, I'm here for it. More Danny Luna is always going to be great.
She was the one also, she perfect kind of like straight like I don't want to say straight person is like orientation, but straight person comedy wise for this, because between LJ Cleary,
good save, smooth.
I do what I can here. I'm like butter. LJ Cleary trying to do things there.
Peanut butter.
In geometric terms, she was the Ray.
There you go. But we didn't get to our special guest referee, because this was, you know what? I give full credit. This was mime and everything at its best. And you talk about, Jesse, you talk about Mikey just devolving into sounds. I didn't know you spoke Sasquatch, Mikey, because Sasquatch, in the tightest crop top ref shirt you've ever seen, after a long layover in Amsterdam, is here to referee this match.
I think the crop top was one of my favorite parts, because it wasn't just a crop. He had it tied up too, like echoing the Divas era for when they had special guest referees.
I was like, what in the Britney Spears is about to go down?
He looks like he's the special guest referee in a No Mercy women's match.
Yeah, I could see that.
But Sasquatch spends the entire time trying to come out of his haze from whatever he did in Amsterdam, which we won't talk about. He can't count half the stuff there. He misses a lot of different things. He won't stop the submissions in the ropes or anything else.
Won't do the 5 count.
There's a rope break. LJ Cleary is getting so upset about this, and it did hit me a little harder when he did this, when he slapped Danny Luna after like 3-4 across the. I don't know how I feel it to me. I don't know why. But what else? What were your other great Sasquatch moments you two had, though? Because I've got a ton here.
I liked when he was doing the ring count for Danny Luna, and he got to 9 and then got distracted by the fact that he had fingers. That I thought was pretty funny. Like, that made me laugh.
Did you all enjoy the crowd also grunting along with him as he was counting? They were grunting back at him.
We love it when the crowd participates.
But also Danny Luna, like, hugging Sasquatch. They're obviously on the same team about this. LJ Cleary getting his butt whooped.
It's fantastic. I love it. I really do.
This was the match, and we got about 80% through it when I had to pause and write down this note, which, again, I don't have my notes with me because I'm so prepared. But it kind of hit me that this is the second intergender match, and it didn't matter. Like, that wasn't the plot point. It was just they're wrestling. And that we've come this far, at least in how I'm seeing it and how it's represented, that, yes, it doesn't have to be the point. Like, it's not really a big deal. Let's just go about it.
You feel the same way, Mikey? I'm getting a yes.
I do. And I think, yes, I do. I agree. No, yeah, that's pretty much it. I agree.
Great. Well, we obviously get a constant submission holds back and forth. No one's getting told to tap out or anything else. No one's being checked on. Sasquatch has got his face in the ring corner. He can't get around. He's stumbling. And then, my God, the fish out of water spot where they're going back and forth like this, and he's just counting when Danny gets LJ Cleary down, but won't count the other way, and it's going back and forth. And finally, like, there's a kick out.
I
Go
liked
ahead,
at the
Jesse.
beginning of that, he just didn't count. He just watched them for like at least the first 4 or 5 transitions. He's like, I'm not getting up and down for
This was also a theme of the night because this happened later on in the night as well. We had another one of those spots. But different thing. But Sasquatch basically helping Danny Luna. Danny Luna picks up the win after completely beating up LJ Cleary. And then I loved Danny Luna carrying Sasquatch out of the ring afterwards, like fully pressing him and taking him. It's Danny Luna.
I'm telling you, man, like she is such a power-based type of wrestler. And before the visa issues, I was really happy with that TNA was building her as such, the bruiser, literally. And hopefully when everything is basically, and hopefully when visa issues are fixed, I am waiting for my awaited match between her and current TNA Knockouts champion Lei Ying Lee. Because I'm ready for it.
Too many powerhouses. But Danny Luna picks up the win over LJ Cleary with obvious help from Sexy Sasquatch. And we get done with our second match of the night. That was the second match, and we got that.
Hold on. Was this our actual first? No, it wouldn't be the first, but first referee squash match.
Yes. It was very nice. We have to put that down, so I have to write that down so we have that listed. This was the first referee squash match in Mystery Wrestling because we get a lot of squash matches, a lot of good stuff.
But not a referee squash match.
No, not usually. But we move on to match number 3. This is your classic Mystery Wrestling. We have really good wrestlers, and they're going to do a classic type of match for you. It's a singles match between James Stone from No Nonsense, Jesse, your favorite faction, we know, and Junior Benito, who's going to clap them cheeks. And oh boy, we've seen these two fight each other multiple times on different Mystery Wrestlings, but the crowd for this one was so into Junior Benito, and James Stone was having to talk back to them so much, it was almost distracting from the amazing work they were doing in the ring. How do you all feel having seen these guys work before and seeing this in a different context?
So this is my second time getting to watch them interact. My first was at Mystery Wrestling 21, not 21 and a half, where it was the second match because we're doing back in time, whatever, Dr. Hoop size plot hole here. Either way, I am so impressed by Junior Benito. Every time I see him, he's so athletic and he's so young too. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen to him later. I think the funniest part was Mr. No Nonsense saying we're in Wales. Well, I can definitely see some whales in the crowd. Like, that was a good line. That's a good creative burn. Definitely mean, but I thought
that was a great one. Mikey.
I think there's just something with Evil Uno's students coming in here every single time and not only getting some ring work in, but also at the same time just getting to be impressed by them. I'm like, damn, the future of Canadian wrestling is about to be great, and I cannot wait to. And I mean, you already got clap them cheeks. You know that when Junior, if he decides to work, around the bigger independents or, big promotions around the world, it was like, that's going to catch on so quick. So you're on your way, Junior. I'm ready for you. But until then, I'm excited to see you be flying across my screen in Mystery Wrestling.
And hey, he could fly this time because there was an actual high ceiling. He didn't have to worry about hitting the fairy lights or anything else. It was great.
Yep.
I also, along those lines, Jesse, I did write down at the top of the show, as soon as Junior had made his entrance, James Stone goes, despite the porno music, it's not that kind of match.
Yeah, that was good.
And then pushing the ref in the way to get him. But James Stone does the perfect heel thing, pushes him in the way, it ends up picking up the win over Junior Benito.
I was kind of upset Junior Benito lost here. Took the it's a 1-on-1, so Chris is going to take the pin. I was upset that he lost because he lost the other match, which happens in the future. Either way, he loses that one too, and I was a little upset because I'd like to see him win a couple. As I was watching him and watching how he moves, he seems to me like he's a cross of Shawn Michaels, who I know he takes inspiration from, but like younger Shawn Michaels, back when he was still using the teardrop suplex as his finish, and Shelton Benjamin. He's like a very good cross between the two of them.
He's got a little Too Cold Scorpio in him too. Like it's very he's a little bit reckless in that respect. I do agree with you though, Jesse. He's very smooth.
So the Too Cold Heartbreak gold standard. There we go. That's not a mouthful at all.
It looked like a mouthful to me. But yes, James Stone ends up picking up the win, and No Nonsense gets their first win of the night. And we move on to what we have on our graphic card, the 3 stages of Hell match. Now, this was pre-advertised. This was what they were hanging their hat on for this. And we knew, all of us, that Cecil Nix and Psycho Mike were going to tear the house down. I loved that they set up at the top. They told you the 3 stages if needed. And it was stage 1, the everyone is blindfolded match. They're bringing that back. So good there. Stage 2, a body slam challenge, which, Mike is the purveyor of the body slam. That could be a big thing. And if needed, an unnecessary hardcore match. Keyword there. Before we get into kind of highlights of the match here, did either of you, one, figure out who was going to win anywhere through this or have any ideas of it? And two, did you kind of expect a few things to happen that did happen, or did you find everything was kind of new and interesting?
That's a good question. It was kind of a mix. I knew there were certainly going to be shenanigans, especially with who was in this match. I was half expecting the ending for the commentators kept talking about it, teasing it, and then I knew it was like, once we get to it, it's not actually going to be a hardcore match. I know something fun is going to happen.
And it did. It did. Mikey, how about you?
When I saw this on the graphic, I was like, I'm not going to have any preconceived notions because things always go sideways in mystery wrestling. So I was like, all right, strap in. I will say I was a little surprised about the placement of the card, and we'll get into that again towards the tail end because I was like, oh, this was great. Wait, we still got like an hour. What is happening?
So just to set up a couple of highlights here, I did write down some notes on it. First off, Psycho Mike not agreeing to do the blindfold, but then pulls it out of his trunks because he already has it. Always a good spot there with that. Now, we got all three people blindfolded, but Cecil Nix did not put his blindfold on and was going great along, like basically taking advantage of the whole time. Psycho Mike checking which ball sack he was going to low blow to make sure it was the right one. Always
I forgot
fun.
about that. There was just so much going on in this match. It's one thing that fell off.
Just one. But I enjoy this type of thing. We finally get through, like, this is the longest fall of the match. Mike gets his blindfold ripped off, realizes Cecil has not worn his blindfold, and is yelling at the referee like, hey, he's cheating. So the ref takes off his blindfold, and we get a double DQ for both being out for not having their blindfolds on, but the ref DQs himself and then sends himself to the back.
I never in 1,000 years could have guessed that the ref would get DQ'd.
Too good. And that's logic they worked within the logic of the comedy, and that is the logical conclusion. All of us took our blindfold off. This part of the match is over. They bring in a new ref.
For the body slam challenge match.
Right. Would this take a while? Was this going to be like something? Because the last body slam challenge we saw was Michael Nakazawa versus Psycho Mike in Toronto. And we knew that took a while.
Forever.
Yeah. Did everyone expect how this kind of came out?
No, this felt like the clip you see all the time of the Orton Cena match where Orton just slaps the ref and gets DQ'd to retain the title. It was like, I guess we're at the third one now.
Pretty much. Mikey, did you expect Cecil Nix to body slam the referee?
I was unprepared, but I was like, okay, we're gonna be moving on. But yes. I was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm also very happy to say that we have a lot less baby oil for this one.
Yeah,
very much so. Well, especially with how slick those ropes were already. As you saw a couple times tonight, people were having trouble getting
getting glistening in the light, and I was worried.
But so Cecil Nix basically games the system. He wins the fall, and I love the ref calling it from the bottom. Like, yep, he won. He body slammed me.
Yeah.
So we had to go, even though technically with a double DQ, Cecil had won the 3 Stages of Hell match. We went to the unnecessary hardcore match, and Jesse, you were right. Cecil brings out this gnarly looking table. He brings out a broken chair. He, gets all this stuff set up there, and Mike rolls him up for a win.
The most devastating move in sports entertainment.
Oh my God. He pulls it out and wins with it. But now they're tied. What do we do? Man. And we set up that Cecil basically wants to keep going. Mike says, are you challenging me to a sudden death 4 Stages of Hell match?
Oh Lord, I was like, not the mathematics.
6 out of 11 falls match, not 2 out of 3.
Nope.
Not 6 out of 7. Not best of 7.
6 out of 11 because Psycho Mike loves prime numbers. He made it quite clear he loves prime numbers.
There's a certain type of intellect that goes on in Psycho Mike's head, and sometimes I'm like, you are such a pill. I love you though.
He is a certified. It's a medical condition. He's an asshole. He's a giant piece of shit. But you think, okay, 6 out of 11 falls. How are they going to do this and do it quickly? Because we're running out of time on this. What's going on here? We get that fish out of water spot again, where they're going back and forth, sitting on each other, and they get 5 pinfalls each within 30 seconds. So they're already ready to get to the 6th fall. And my God, so Mike kicks out at 2.999 out of that one. They don't know where they're going to go with it. And finally, I think it was Mike did the discus low blow and ends up body slamming Cecil and just taking the win for himself. And Psycho Mike wins the 6 out of 11 falls match to win the 4 Stages of Hell match.
This was the main event. Like the card on this night was a bit messed up, but what more can you say? Comedy wrestling at its peak, and at no point did I fully guess where we were going to go with it.
Until
Yeah, well, they had you guessing because you could logically see the progression of, okay, something's gonna happen here, but they definitely they worked within their system and they played it to the hilt. It wasn't like it was half-assed. It wasn't. They made sure you knew how extreme this was gonna get. Mikey, was this your match of the night?
normally, yes. This was not, though.
Oh, really? Have we gone past your match of the night yet?
No, we have not.
So we will jump from this to match number 5. Now there was a bit of a little jump here because they needed time to set this up. This is a new match that no one knew if we could take care of. A 6-way match. There's going to be a 6-way match. Now we talk about, again, before I jump into what this is, you want to balance in a comedy show, in any type of show, you want peaks and valleys. You want places to breathe, places to do stuff. If you're going to have the match that follows the 3 stages of hell, you don't want it to be another big comedy match. And yet they did. And while I was very excited for this match, I feel like they needed to put some of the other 2 that came up after it in between to give us time to get back to it, because I wasn't done laughing at 3 stages of hell. And then we get the 6-way, the floor is lava match.
This was my match of the night. I hard disagree with you.
Not only did they tape out the word lava on the floor to make sure you knew where it was, they made the refs come out in aluminum foil shoes to be able to make sure they were lava-proof boots. My question on this was, they gave the refs that, but the cameramen were walking around in their sneakers. How did they not die?
The only logical explanation is this: wrestling. Suspension of disbelief.
Mikey. That's
also, there was probably some thermal, there are some fireproof and thermal proof soles in those shoes. Those actually do exist. As someone who now teaches science, I had to learn that. I was like, oh, they actually make shoes like that. Okay.
So the premise of this match is, though, everything outside the ring, off the apron, is lava. The audience is sitting in lava, but they're on their chairs, so they're okay. But, I mean, if you touch the lava, you die. This is the logic of the world. We all know this.
Die.
We have 6 more druids in the ring. We don't know who's going to be in this match yet, as they reveal themselves. Top Dog from Mr. Wrestling. Harrison Bennett, who I've seen in Progress in a couple other places. Josh Hawley, who's been having a feud with Simon Miller. It's so funny that they're on the
They're about to go at it Sunday.
A new person I didn't know about, Ravy Davy from Scotland, who was like...
He's my favorite now. He's my favorite.
I am such a big fan now.
He is my favorite.
And then, of course, Mikey, I thought of you because Rain Leverkusen from Progress, who was the former title holder there, is our final one. And apparently I forgot that she and Michael and Harrison Bennett are in a tag team together, but also are lovers together because it's love at first bite.
That was love at first fight.
That too.
I saw Bite, but who knows? But this was going to be
I didn't
crazy
pay extra
match.
for that movie.
Well, then.
You didn't have to. We gave it to you for free. But as a 6-way match, it devolved straight away. Ravy Davy got a microphone out of somewhere and was just whopping the crowd up. And both Mark Andrews and Uno were like, wait a minute, he's Scottish. He's in Wales. Why is he getting Wales to work? And the best thing for Mark Andrews, it's like putting, Drew McIntyre in a main event in frickin' Cardiff.
It's close enough, right?
Of course, even though there were people from Wales in the match.
Throw the shade. Throw the shade.
I love the fact that he was like wrestling and doing well for probably a good 8-9 minutes while still holding the microphone.
Well, and he deputized the Canadian guys to become Scottish for that moment, so it was Scotland versus Wales.
I'm not gonna lie, he was my reason why this was my match of the entire night. I mean, I loved everyone that was in this match, but that first bit, I had to pause because I was crying tears of laughter from his mic work, and then I completely lost it when he deputized the Canadian boys.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening?
When he got eliminated, I was so upset. I was like, I don't even want to watch the rest of this match. I don't care who wins now.
But he was the best elimination because he dragged himself under the ring.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite moments was the first elimination when they all take the moment of silence for him, and you hear the crowd, they're so into it, they start humming taps. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but I started giggling to myself at the absurdity of it.
Josh Hawley was the first eliminated. He got thrown over and kicked out by Hattie. Hattie was knocking people everywhere. He was the major heel in this entire match.
Yeah, I know. He took out Top Dog. Between Top Dog and Ravy Davy, one of those two should have won, in my opinion. And, my opinion is the only one that matters right now.
It is. Top Dog, though, did get a big comeback spot with Glizzy the Wiener as he wienered to the head, including Rain, who was doing a flying splash and just got completely wrecked by the wiener. Everyone was taking wieners to the dome, and honestly, you love to see good sausage work when you can. So this was
sounds like an
ridiculous.
for us.
Very much so.
I did pay extra for that movie.
Now we know.
Josh Hawley was eliminated first. He burns alive, and he definitely sold it as well. He was definitely down there. Top Dog saved Glizzy Terminator style because Hattie threw the dog out of the ring and he chased her onto the floor and was holding her up as he was dying like the T-100, just going down into the lava. Hattie then basically burned and then knocked Ravy Davy out with his hat almost. Was basically taking him out that way and turned it around. Then Harrison saves Rain to get knocked out by Hattie. Like, Hattie was clearing house, but I love that once we had enough people on the floor, people kept using them to stand on. Like, use the bodies. You're not going to die. You're going to get there.
I still think one of my favorite spots was when they got Ravy Davy's hat off, and then Rain was mixing up Ravy Davy with her partner because they're both bald.
What do you mean? I thought you loved me.
Listen, it's okay. Wrestling is just a giant polycule. We love you all. Like, honestly.
The other great
people
spot
look the same, right?
All of you do.
You and the professor are striking lookalikes. It's crazy.
I'm right here. Will you stop talking about me like I'm not here?
Oh no, I am talking about you bald fraud. I'm just kidding. I'm like just.
But also, before Ravy Davy was eliminated, we also got a great spot where he saved himself on a chair, and he's like like Kofi Kingston, perfectly fine, and then gets it while he's trying to put on the ref's aluminum shoe. He gets eliminated. That was terrible elimination. But he then sucked himself under the ring, and finally, Rain gets knocked over the top by Hattie, stands on Harrison a little bit, and then leans over and throws Hattie straight out, getting him out there. Rain Leverkusen is our winner. She takes it all, and then I give her wholehearted credit for this. Match is over.
Shawn Michaels British Bulldog spot.
It was the both over, but I have to give her credit for how she exited afterwards because we finished the match. All the other guys don't move; they're dead. They're dead on the floor. She walks across all of them, gets on Glizzy, and shuffles out because the floor is still lava.
And she's able to hold Glizzy onto her feet the whole time. It was so good.
They were so committed to the bit. I absolutely love it. I mean, again, like you had said a few times tonight, John, playing within the space. They nailed it. It was comic and over the top, but not to the point where it's like a forced laugh.
Exactly. You were laughing because it's genuinely like, oh my God, this is happening. I cannot believe the lengths they've gone to make this premise work.
And that is why it was my match of my favorite comedy match, I should say, of the entire night.
I definitely enjoyed it as well. It was not what I expected. I hope we see more things like this. Also, the fact, it did bother me a little bit that you have that as your final match, and then lava's still on the floor for the next two matches. So obviously the floor is still lava.
I was going to make that note during the next match. Like there's the three topes in a row, and he's standing. How is he alive? It's very concerned.
Kind of like, what is it? Not volcano. It's like something peak, Dante's Peak, where the old lady just pushes the boat out in the acid and just continues to die, but does all she can until she dies. Spoilers. But we then cut back to Uno and Mark Andrews at the desk. Mark Andrews and Uno at the desk, who are trying to cover for time because obviously they're getting the body bags out to drag these bodies out and dispose of them because they're all dead. Obviously, it's taking forever for these bodies to get done, so they're going back and forth talking about the upcoming events, how much they're enjoying being in Cardiff, the fact that there's history here. But we get to a Lucha Rules trio match, which means Lucha Tag Rules, where you don't have to technically tag your opponents. As long as you roll out under the bottom rope, somebody else can jump in and they're tagged in an illegal man. Very much why we see that happen when we see luchadors first starting. In the American stuff, they don't know what the hell they're doing. But we have some local favorites, the Bryant brothers, the Flying Bryant brothers of, oh shoot, I wrote these down. Nico, Alex, and I remember the third one, the little one who's the actual leader. Oh, Leland. Obviously.
Leland, the best and the leader of the Bryant brothers, Leland.
Even though Nico has actually gone for the Attack Pro Wrestling Championship.
He's like 17 years old.
You can tell by he's got abs, but he's just rail thin. But then you get Rajan Husher and KPK coming out in crow makeup and other makeup, basically almost like the Gorillas of Destiny, coming out to take them on. And, it's a straight match. There wasn't a lot of comedy to it, but the innovative group attacks and group moves, I was hooked by this match. I don't know about you two.
I got through this match and I had said to myself, and I made the note, and I mean this as a compliment, just because, a lot of people are like, oh, it's an indie one as opposed to the big promotions. It felt like Top Flight versus the Gates of Agony. It felt like very much one of their matches.
Interesting. Wow. I hadn't thought about it that way, but you're right. It's that kind of big little thing there. Mikey, did you know any of these people coming in here before we got to this?
I did not.
So this is all new for all of us.
Yes. I do appreciate the character works. I do. I thought the match itself, it was pretty good. I think I've been spoiled by CMLL because I was like, when I heard Lucha, I was just like, all right, Mystery Wrestling, we're either going to have a good time or you're going to piss me off. Like, you all made me mad. But I thought it was good, but essentially I'm just like, okay, I've been spoiled. This is more like a tornado tag than anything else. This is not like proper Lucha Trios action, because there's, again, not to get too technical about it, but there's just different levels of different styles of trios matches, because shameless plug, if you check out our CMLL reviews, they always go through like 4 or 5 different styles of trios matches. And so it's like, this is more like a tornado tag, but I had fun with it though.
This was a spot fest for everything in there. And, you know, the KPK were great bases for the Bryant brothers to kind of fly around on. That triple powerbomb they did was super intense. And I want to see more of that. But their finisher, which they called the Area 53, was one of my like highlights of the night, because that was the 3D into the lung blower, the gut buster. And that's how you bridge it. That's what you do. I want to see like something happen like that, where we end up basically it being like, you know, like a FTR move with whoever they're with at that point, to have the gut buster in the middle.
Yeah, that move's so dangerous to pull off, not injure somebody, and the fact that they didn't, presumably they didn't, was, you know, just kudos to them, especially because most of them are still very, very young in their careers.
They are, but also 3 brothers, and I love that Uno brought up, all born within a year of each other. Okay, their parents were a little bit busy, huh?
Find a new hobby. What?
It's a bunch of Irish twins.
Mikey, stop that.
But yes, the Bryant brothers pick up the win and end up taking that down. And, you know, Rayshawn Husher's first debut in Mystery Wrestling, I'd like to see him back doing stuff, or see him take on, like, Car Noir or other face-painted wrestlers. That would be very fun to see. Who knows?
I'd like to see any of these guys back.
Even the next match?
No, I meant the trios match.
Because our final match of the evening, match 7, was our For All the Marbles Mystery Wrestling title match, which I love that Uno brought up that it was a literal bag of marbles until Stu got involved, and now it's a belt. Stu Grayson defending the title the day before he defends it again against Flash Morgan Webster, who is the tag partner of Mark Andrews, coming out to do a little bit of singles work. I have seen Flash Morgan Webster before. I'd seen him in NXT UK and a couple other places I knew we were in for, but the amount of trash talk Stu was giving him just for being flippy dippy and dancing, it wore on me. I didn't actually enjoy Stu Grayson this time. I do enjoy him from time to time. I don't know about you two.
I mean, that means he's playing his character well. If you're starting to be like, oh my God, will this guy just shut up? And it means he's leaning into his character, his no-nonsense character, because Stu Grayson's a great wrestler. He's a great in-ring worker. So I like to see him develop this character. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to it. I mean, the character stuff doesn't have a whole lot of meat to it, but at least the points he does have, he's leaning into it.
It's true. Mikey, knowing Flash Morgan Webster as you do, was this like a typical match of his, you thought, or maybe he actually pulled some new stuff out?
I think for Flash, I think for him, this was pretty much what I'm used to. And I know sometimes we use the word like, oh, this was a safe performance, as like not crazy or not bad, but this is what I'm used to seeing from Flash, and that's by no means bad, because he's fantastic and I love him. But I also know, like we said last Mystery Wrestling, him and Mark Andrews are quote unquote passing the torch to the younger ones, like we saw when they took on Lyco's Gym at the last one, where Lyco's Gym is basically Andrews and Morgan, but younger versions of them. So they've been in this business forever. And so now they're just literally doing side quests at this point, in my personal opinion.
I was going to say, they're not really passing the torch to Stu Grayson, who I think has been in it as long as they have. This was kind of like, you know, 2 wily old veterans doing what they do. But I did enjoy Flash Morgan Webster using the power of dance to kind of hulk up and come back in his little comeback there.
I love when Flash just leans into the comedy, because he did that in NXT UK, and he's been doing it his whole career. It's really good. And he has gone on record to say that silliness comes from, because he literally is just like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Elton John, so we're just going to get wild and wacky with it. Lest we forget, in NXT UK, he came out with the Elton John like bike helmet and everything.
That's true. He was very mod. It was very interesting. Jesse, what did you think of this match?
Honestly, I went into this match, I was already blown up just from the 2 comedy matches that we had in the middle. So the match itself was fine. It was serviceable. I thought they both did very good in-ring work, but it didn't have anything that really pulled me and gripped me and kept me wanting to watch. Like, it was one of those things where I had to force myself to finish it, and I was getting distracted by other things that were around me at the time. I was like, no, finish it. You've got 1 match left to do. So again, it was a fine match, but I think the pacing of the card and the placement of certain matches on the cards, if they had changed that slightly, it would have had like the rest of my attention. It was just fleeting at best.
Yeah, you all of the energy that anybody had when this was given up in the middle of the card. I mean, this was a glorified house show, but the thing about Mystery Wrestling is they're kind of like what house shows were in the first place as their baseline. So if you're going to do it, set it up the same way and actually like give everyone a good time. I don't know. That's where I'm sitting with it. But that was our final match. Stu Grayson does end up picking up the win, does not give respect to Flash Morgan Webster. Luckily doesn't go after Uno quite a bit, which is always nice. But I mean, 7 matches, hour and a half, this kind of flew by. Any final thoughts from you two on Mystery Wrestling 21 and a half?
Oh yeah, there was a fun trivia bit that I like Evil Uno even more now. The first book that he read to completion, start to finish, was Lord of the Rings. So, super nerd, and I'm super fan.
Always good. Mikey?
I think this was just a fun, like, in-between episode as we are gearing up from 21 to 22 here in a matter of a couple of weeks, actually, if I look at my calendar correctly. So it's going to be upon us. Yep, it's going to be crazy. I mean, starting this week and next week, I'm like, strap yourselves in, kids. It's going to be a long spring for everybody.
Like, do we think they're going to keep doing that, or think this was just kind of a one-off?
First of all, Jesse, you get extra bonus points for me for being the Kingdom Hearts naming convention and fan of the series, as convoluted as it is. I grew up on that. Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best. Fight me. Anywho.
Yeah, I'll defend you too.
Okay.
I don't believe they're going to go to another 0.5s unless they, like, for 23 maybe. Like, maybe this is when they do, like, the excursions. But I think this was just a very, like, they had to sell another night because they sold so much in Cardiff, so may as well record it anyways and test out our camera equipment, which makes sense.
And I feel like this is also, like, a good litmus test to see, like, when they go to other places outside of Canada, like, hey, can we possibly do this and, showcase not only the talent that comes with us, but the talent that's within the home country. Like, I don't know if they ever would, but I would love to see Mystery Wrestling head to Mexico, Japan. Like, listen, I want a Mystery Wrestling DDT crossover, like, really bad, guys. Like, Mystery Wrestling DDT this would be so much fun.
Go back to the UK and do Pro Wrestling Eve. Seriously,
yes.
It'd be so much fun to do. But that is the end of the Mystery Wrestling stuff here. Mikey, what else is happening on BC WrestlePod for the rest of the week? Because we've got quite a few things, don't we?
Oh my God, it's only Thursday, and Lord help us. There's a plethora of things happening, but I am excited. So tomorrow evening is our TNA post-show breakdown, where not only will myself and both sets of Will talk about the go-home episode for TNA, we will also be giving our predictions because we are finally to the second pay-per-view of the year for TNA, No Surrender, which is happening in Tennessee over the weekend. So we're going to be keeping track of all of that, especially now that we have some returns with people from the UK who were stuck because of visas, but they're making their returns. Leon Slater is coming back. Hopefully Danny Luna will be a surprise. We're also going to see some of our newer folks signed to TNA in action. The Hardys and the Righteous are teaming up against Order 4, which should be interesting. We're going to see Bear Bronson as well, who is now newly signed to TNA as well. So
friend of the show.
Shout out to Bear, homie. We love him, and Gabby Forza. They are a couple goals. And that's just this Friday. All next week, though, it's going to be crazy. So Tuesday, you have AEW as we talk about the Dynamite that happened in my backyard, or at least an hour and a half away from here in Ontario, California.
We have stuff to talk about with that, especially around some.
Like no Dynamite in your backyard. You guys are way too flammable out west.
It's either the fire or the earthquake. Something's bound to get us. But
that's both.
More important, that's true. But more importantly, we'll be also be talking about Grand Slam Australia, which is happening on Saturday. Which after this episode, after Wednesday, we got a bunch more matches made. So I'm like, Lord help us. 2 new champions. See that on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we go back to back with NXT and CMLL. Next Thursday, I will be in the main host seat as I take over and I walk our Progress Wrestling crew through our next Progress show, Chapter 190 in Brightest Day, where we have a lot of fun stuff happening. I'm super excited. We are getting a rematch, kind of. They have history, but Alexis Falcon versus Rio is going to be fantastic. We have Simon Miller versus Josh Hawley in the first round for the Super Strong Style 16 tournament. Spike Trevay versus Bullet is about to go ham. We have Man Like Darius and Michael Oku taking on Lycos Jim in a tag team match. Like, it's going to be so good. So you should check that out on Thursday. And then next Friday is TNA's No Surrender. And then I just want to put this out there that in 2 weeks, on the following Thursday, Progress will be back for the Love of Progress 4. I'm really excited, where we get to see Lana Austin take on another friend to our show in our heads, Miss Shotzi Blackheart, in the women's round for Super Strong Style 16. So cannot wait for that.
Jesse and I have been jumped on by her. It's very nice.
Yep.
But yes, so lots to come here. If you liked what you saw tonight, check those out. All the stuff will be up on our YouTube channel, on our Twitch channel. see it live or check out all the clips there. You know, like and all the good ones on Jesse's face because we want Jesse to make the algorithm love him so much more. But other than that, thank you to Mikey for being here. Thank you to Gang Grilled Cheese for filling in for us for Jesse and the Professor, because obviously your third personality is much more fun sometimes. All three. And thank you to you out there in BC WrestlePod land for joining us tonight to talk about all the great stuff we've talked about, but Mystery Wrestling in general. We love Mystery Wrestling. Evil Uno, please come on the show. But just remember, if nothing else for us, thank you for being here and watching with us, sharing your love of comedy wrestling and wrestling in general. And remember, you get to finish your story. You are Biconic. We're all Biconic together. And we'll see you in our next video.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.